Okay, so, let me put my phone on vibrate. Welcome to episode 3 of the Burncast. I'm pretty sure this is episode 3. Today we are in a different environment. I am down at my grass hut. This is a little room that I built, or a little man cave pretty much that I built to just hang out and kind of be outside, but also not be outside, because it has a roof, a nice couch, and a TV. Nothing crazy though. All of this stuff here was re- reasonably cheap. But I hope you guys are doing well. Today is Monday, July 26th. I have been a little bit behind on the podcast. I think I'm going to post them on Tuesday and film them on Mondays because during the weekend, how it just happened, I was bored on a Saturday and then I just decided to do it on a Saturday. But my weekends are usually, not usually, but my weekends tend to be pretty packed. So I'm going to shoot these on Monday, upload on Tuesday. But today, I think I'm just going to upload it on Monday. So to keep with some of the consistency and then move to the new schedule. Um, but yeah, it's pretty warm down here, but I'm chilling. It's pretty nice. I'm trying to think of any small business before I get into what I originally wanted to talk about. Well, what I'm going to talk about in this episode, well, what I wrote down is turning 20 or getting older and breaking into your 20s. So this applies to pretty much anybody around my age, younger or older, because I think we're all in the same boat here. This is all just, I kind of just like ranted on paper, but I'm going to try to not turn this into a rant, even though I don't have anything to rant about. But not much has been a lot has been going on, but nothing worth talking about. Nothing to be mentioned on the podcast, I don't think. Things have been good for me. I hope things have been good for you. Um, yeah. So I guess let's see. Before I do anything else on my phone, I'm gonna just have him do here. Oh, I'm on Snapchat right now. I shouldn't have been, but I'm podcasting right now, and this is fun. I'm just sending a snap. Okay. So what I wanted to get into, well, now what I'm ready to get into is this video. Well, this podcast is like 2 weeks late because my birthday was 2 weeks ago on July 10th. I turned 20. I broke into my 20s, my roaring 20s. And I kind of mentioned it in the first podcast. The first podcast I mentioned it, but I wanted to get into it a little bit more in this podcast. So to get into it, I'm just reading off my paper again. And actually, before I get into that, I hope that the last podcast was interesting about me doing YouTube full time because it seems like an interesting thing for me. I mean, I did hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube this morning. I was on my run and then I was like, I should check, how many subs I'm at. And then it was 9,999. And then maybe like a minute later, it hit 10,000. So, I am happy about that. But what I wanted to talk about is, well, I turned 22 weeks ago. I was late at that. And I was going to that was actually going to be the first podcast, me turning 20, because I was like in the feelings of feeling like, that I'm like 2 decades old. Because at first it was kind of weird, age is just a number. You still feel the same every birthday. I don't feel, the immediate change of being 20. But now that I'm saying that I'm 20, it's still weird. But it felt weird, but at the same time, I felt nothing. I think I just said that. But it just felt weird thinking just getting older is a weird thought. It's always kind of, well, the past few years getting older, actually, honestly, the past year and a half being just growing up, and the thought of it has really been strange because as soon as I got into college and just, we're all in the college age, or, just getting into it, you just really start to feel time changing. And it's crazy. There's so many things that happened a year ago that just like that seem to be a blur, or so many things that have just happened years ago seem like yesterday. Um, and it's crazy that it's 2021 and next year is 2022. I remember December 21st, 2012. I was at this is random, but I was at my friend's Christmas party, and that was my whole class there. And I remember at 5 o'clock, because there was the movie 2012, which the world would end that day. I remember, I think I wasn't the only one. I probably was, but I don't think I was. Um, I was like, oh, the world's gonna end. So, it's crazy remembering that and thinking how long ago that was, and I was a completely different person back then. Like, I didn't have half of the people that are in my life right now, which is crazy to think about. So that's where all the, weird feelings about being 20 come from. Like, you think of some people. I'm going off tangent, but that's what this podcast is for. Just because I think I'm fun to listen to, even myself. But it's crazy for me to think about some of the people that I'm really close with right now. I didn't even know them a year ago. And or I didn't even think I'd be close like that with them. Or I just thought that they'd just be strangers to me. So it's weird thinking like how time goes by like that. I think if you are listening, you people, you may know who you are, but you're good people. You're good people. Um, but first, in my list of things to talk about, just getting older, I wanted to get into the academic pressures of getting older, because high school for me and a lot of people, high school was a shit show, complete shit show. I mean, of course, there were good things that came out of high school for me and everybody, but just looking at it as a whole, because of all the things that have happened, it was a complete clusterfuck of not being sure of what's going on. You know, you don't know what's going on with yourself. You don't know what's going on with the future, your grades, just everything. And by senior year, you're expected to just know where you want to be for the next 4 years of your life and what you want to do, and kind of the idea, and you need to have somewhat of an idea of what you want to do with your life, which does not make sense to me. Um, that's actually what I wrote down, because, once you get to college, a lot of people I know, they think that they want to do something. They get into this one major, then they realize, oh my God, actually doing this as a job seems horrible. So they get out of what they want to do. And I kind of had that pressure, but I mean, for the longest time, I've wanted to just be doing automotive content full time. So, doing YouTube full time, and that's what I'm doing. And getting into that really quickly, and then I'll get back on track. Um, my views have been picking up a lot. Like, the videos are doing really well. The past 3 videos that I've uploaded are like like blowing up. I mean, blowing up compared to other videos of mine. They're just doing really well. So, that whole full-time goal is becoming nicer and easier to experience. Well, it's not been hard to experience it, but you know what I mean. But my next point about college was that I don't think it's for everyone. College does not seem like something that I am that crazy about. I've been in college and I'm in college. Well, I'm not taking summer classes, but I, had school last year, and I really don't care. I mean, it's not like I don't care about colleges and I'm throwing it away, because if I wanted to do anything else, even if I wanted to just be slightly out of the automotive field. Well, not out of the automotive field, but in another position than being a journalist or just, influencer, I'd say, because I would not say I'm a journalist. Um, you would need school, like if you want to design cars, if you want to do anything that's not just talking about cars, I guess. But even that needs college, depending on what career you want to do. So, but it doesn't feel like it is for me, because it feels like it's holding me back from the things that I've wanted to do, like YouTube, and holding me back from events and opportunities that I could do, I can do now, but I could not do while I was in school. I've missed out on a lot of opportunities to meet new people and do all kinds of things because of school. So, that's why I'm doing this year. And for people that just don't want to go to college, but you still want to have a, good, successful job. A lot of people have been doing this, and it seems like it's getting more popular, which is good, is trade school, because you could just go to school for what you want to do. If you want to fix cars, you can just go to school for fixing cars. You want to do HVAC, you can go to school for just HVAC or plumbing or whatever. I think that's a better route for people that actually want to be doing something, because you're learning more about what you want to learn and not having to deal with all the stupid things that feel pointless. So, if I wanted to be a tech or something, I could go to school for that. So there's always an option of trade school, and I definitely recommend that for people that don't feel like doing regular school. And there's also internships that I've known of. Like, I think Amazon does certain things with people that don't want to go to college, but they, want to get into a good paying job. They just, give you the job based on how you perform at a test or class that they provide, not just, having to learn Latin when you want to learn how to dig holes or something. You know what I mean? So, there's always those different options. Let's see here. I just got a text and I was distracted. No, I didn't. Someone thought I got a car. But that's where I want to talk. That's where I'm getting into that's where I got into the academic pressures of it. There's so much more. Oh, I actually wrote that down. In the high school part of things, a lot of people are concerned about themselves in terms of self-esteem. And I learned that a lot of the things that I was anxious about and insecure of back then really don't make sense. Well, not don't make sense, but, they were not as bad as I was worrying about them being when I was in high school. So you grow out of a lot of things like that. There's also grades. Grades is another thing, because parents are crazy about grades, teachers are crazy about grades, other classmates are crazy about grades. Everybody's crazy about grades. And to me, grades are just a number, because you could be getting great grades in school and really smart when it comes to academics, but really stupid when it comes to actually, like, surviving day-to-day things. Because you can't, not even just like street smarts or something, just being a well-rounded individual. And I wish schools would teach that more. I guess I'm getting into the education side of things, but I wish schools would teach people how to actually be smart people. Because there's a lot of this is going to be another podcast, but there's a lot of stupid people in this society right now. And I'm pretty sure you guys that are listening can agree with me on that. There's a lot of stupid people out there. And everyone feels smarter than each other. I really don't know where I fall. I know I'm not that dumb compared to others, but, other people know more than me, and I know more than other people. But I don't know where I'm going with that. But where was I going with that? But yeah, grades. Grades are just a number. Wow, I really went off tangent. But grades are just a number to me. The things that you actually know how to do, and just merit. Merit seems more important to me. Of course, it's good to learn how to memorize certain things, but not, be concerned about GPAs and all kinds of stupid crap like that. That just gets stressful because everyone gets wound up in numbers. It's very stressful and very exhausting. But there's also love life. That's one of the things that I put in there. Love life is something that's also very, I don't want to use the word difficult, but very complex in high school and around this age. Because a lot of people uh, I know have been with people for a long time, through high school. Other people have broken up through high school or at the end of high school and such. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I was actually planning on going on the route of just you don't know who you are, and the other person, you don't know exactly who you are in high school because you're still kind of coddled. I think once people reach college, that's a good turning point for them to, know that I like this, and that's that. Um, Stuff like that, stuff like that. I may get into a podcast about the whole not my love life, but the love life of young people nowadays. Let's see here. I can't read a text right now. I shouldn't have done that because I am trying to do a podcast and I get distracted. Let's see. I'm going to tell him, I'm going to do the voice thing, which is nice. You guys are going to be in the middle of a text message. I'm doing a podcast now, comma, I don't know why I open this now, lol, comma, but I'll hit you back up in a few. Let's see. I'm doing a podcast now. I don't know why I open this now, lol. Okay, I hope he understands. I hope he understands that. But that's all I wanted to. Well, I have a lot, so I've been kind of rambling about academics. So I'm going to talk about adulting. I got distracted. See, it's very easy for me to get distracted with things. That's why I should just turn the phone upside down. But no, then if someone important calls me, then I need to know. This is the problem. I have ADD and I get distracted by things like this. It's kind of annoying, but I think from the past two podcasts you've figured that out by now because I go off tangent so much. But I wanted to get into adulting. Yeah, I wanted to get into adulting, and I won't stick on that too long because I've already been talking for about 20 minutes, which is good. This might be my longest the podcasts are getting longer as I go by. But adulting, because this is the phase of life that I'm getting into now, because this applies to people that are in school and not in school. Just anyone that's like 19, 20 years old or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just, people around my age that can find this stuff relatable. The first thing I wrote down is bills. And I don't really know what I meant with that because everyone has, some people our age have bills, other people our age don't. I happen to have bills. I pay for my phone. I pay for my cars, insurance, gas, everything. I pay for all my stuff pretty much. And other people are fortunate enough to not have that, but it also depends on, wow, there's a loud car passing by, ripping up the street. But it also depends on just like how you perceive that fortunateness, if that makes sense. If you're spoiled, then you're a little shit, But, you can have humility with that fortunateness, being blessed with the things like money and such. I really don't know where I'm going with that. But what I wanted to talk about, the adulting thing, because a lot of people I know have been, either wanting to do this or have done this, is moving out. And a lot of people my age want to move out because, well, I feel like this, and I've talked to a lot of my friends that feel the same way. We feel like we're being treated as children and adults at the same time. And that's because, for example, for me, I still have to deal with curfews. Well, not curfews, just I still have to deal with being told it's too late to do something like this when it's 10 o'clock. That's kind of a rant. But I won't, but it's things like that. Just having people watching you and like telling you what to do. I mean, but that's because, you live in your parents' house, so, whatever. But stuff like that. And then on the adult side of things, you're supposed to know what you want to do with your life, and you're expected to. Your parents have an expectation of you, which sometimes is inaccurate and sometimes is too early to have these expectations. My mind is kind of everywhere. And I wrote down having to know how to do certain things and having certain responsibilities, but that's kind of part of that. But yeah, a lot of us just want that independence. I want that independence, but I'm nowhere near ready yet, and am I'm honestly okay with my position now, just being at home for now, but eventually I'd love to have that independence because I think it's something that people really need to learn how to get older, that independence. But it's not all bad being 20. That's the next thing that I wrote down. It's not all bad being 20. Oh, okay. I'm getting distracted by my phone. So I wrote down a few things, a few positives or benefits of being 20. Then I'll close with some advice. So yeah, you were closer to 21, which 21 is a big deal and isn't a big deal because 21 is legally when you're considered an adult. Some people consider themselves adults earlier than that. It's weird to think that I'm an adult. I'm a young adult. That's what I consider myself as. But 21 really isn't that much different besides being able to go to a bar or buying booze at a liquor store or just stuff like that. At least that's what it seems like to me. But another thing, a good thing about looking at that, well, when you turn 20, for people that have turned 20, you can still do this, or people that are about to turn 20 or are turning 20, is to, I guess, a self-reflection on those past 2 decades, seeing who you were as a person, who you've become, because you change so much in 20 years from when you're a baby to now. Completely different people. The person that I am now would not know who I was. Well, if I ran into my 5-year-old self, I would not know who that was. Of course, there's little things that you still grow with, little quirks and niggles, but most of the, like, just on maturity, you're a completely different person. So I think it's always good to self-reflect on that. Even just on your birthday, just see how you were last year. Because my 20-year-old birthday was completely different than my 19th birthday. My 19th birthday, I was not as mature as I was now. I matured a lot in a year, I think. And adding on to that self-reflection, there's always a chance to improve, and it's never too late to improve and change yourself. If you're not happy with yourself, and not in like the shaming yourself, but if you're not in a place where you want to be, like if you're not in a job that you want to be doing, if you don't want to be going to this school, this major, stuff like that, it's never too late to change it. And that's what I did. I'm still very early in the whole YouTube thing, I think, at least as of my colleagues, but it's never too late to get into what you want to do, because there's plenty of time ahead. If you're careful with things, because I know plenty of people that are not careful with themselves, and they've hurt themselves by just being like, oh yeah, I'm young, I have all this time ahead of me. I feel like I'm really going off tangent with this. It's interesting. But yeah, there's plenty of time ahead. And then I'm going to close with some advice. And like I said, there's plenty of time to mature and change. I just said that. But something that I do in times of stress, because there's a lot of stressful times that people may go through in college and in high school. I definitely recommend journaling. It's something that I have learned to do, because you can't just get into it, it's kind of weird. You're just like, today, this, it's not like that. You can journal in any way you want. You can journal like you're talking to someone, but just typing it down. You could journal with bullet points. You can do whatever, but just getting those thoughts out of your head, any negative thought or positive, getting thoughts out of your head is a good way to learn who you are and how you act as a person. I think that's what I've learned. And when it comes to goals, because I know a lot of people my age have goals for themselves. They want to be somewhere at a certain period of time. I definitely think it's better to set small goals that lead you to that big goal. Always have that big goal. Like for me, my big goal is to be able to pay off my mom's house, buy her a new car. Well, she doesn't need a new car, but buy her a nicer car, a new car. Pay off my dad's house. Just, help my parents. That's what I want to do. I just want to help my parents. That's my first goal. Well, one of the few big goals that I have. Then I'd like to get, my like dream house and have the cars that I want and have the things done to my cars and all. And then, yeah, those are my big goals. But the small goals are like doing YouTube full time, committing to a schedule, posting, just like trying to not exceed your expectations, I guess, but like be better every time. Be the best version of yourself every time you post something. Because the big goal, seeing that, may seem overwhelming, because you're like, how do I get to this point? It seems like such a hard thing to do and seems so far away. One of my little goals is buying this car. I'm trying to buy another car, convertible. And that's kind of one of my goals is to actually, set up the time for me to go get the car if I do want to get it. But I feel like this podcast, I had a good time, and I think I was a good talker. Good talker. But at the end of every podcast, I'm like, was I just talking nonsense the whole time? I don't think I was. If any of you talk to me and listen to the podcast, let me know if this seems like nonsense, or even if I am talking nonsense, if it's enjoyable nonsense. But I can also tell that the podcast, it's almost time, because I think it's been 30 minutes. So it turns out that my camera actually stopped recording at the 30-minute mark, so I have to remember that next time. But I just want to close out the cast with a thank you for listening to me for 3 episodes so far. And also stay tuned for the rest of the podcast, because I have some pretty interesting topics coming up in the future. Also, if you want to keep up with me on my main YouTube channel, that's just Bern Romulus, my name. And it's also the same on Instagram. And that's really all that I post to. I don't post to Facebook I post to my own Facebook, but I don't post to Twitter and stuff like that. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you and talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.